What's up, guys? My name is Drew Adams. Today we are doing a podcast with my friend Tyler, who runs a Cardano staking pool and is the most knowledgeable person that I know when it comes to Cardano and staking. And you'll learn everything that you need to know when it comes to staking your Cardano. Let's jump right into it.
We're the only pool that rewards its delegates twice every 5 days.
Tyler, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about Cardano, and I'm excited to be on the show.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right into it. Starting off, tell me, when did you start investing into crypto?
Yeah, so my first investment was actually relatively recently. I would say my first purchase was 2017, 2018, but I've been following crypto since 2011 when the headline of Bitcoin first breaking $1 came out. But at that time, I always thought, well, it's too late, right? Now it's $1. It's definitely going to go down from here. And so I held off on buying, which obviously we know now to be a big mistake. But so I didn't actually purchase anything until 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine buying Bitcoin at $1 and just sitting on it for a couple of years, I'm sure that would be life-changing there. And so, yeah, well, as far as me, I started in 2016. I had a buddy who was mining with his video cards out of his computer, and he told me about it. And I had a decent GPU setup at the time, so I started mining from my home as well. And I had installed the NiceHash miner on my computer, and overnight I was so excited to keep checking it, but I made 30 cents over that first night. and it kept me up. I was like up 4 different times, just like looking at it and just super excited about the aspect of having passive income. And so yeah, that was really my big jump into it. And so yeah, well, tell me, what about so as far as crypto's concerned, what made you so passionate about crypto?
Yeah, so I actually have a software engineering degree. So I haven't used it since I got it. My career has led me in a different direction, but I do like to tinker and stay up with technology. So there's that aspect, and then on the same side, I'm very interested in personal finance. I have spreadsheets for everything and like to track different portfolios. So I think it's really just a culmination of those two hobbies and interests that led me to the natural choice of getting interested in crypto. And like I said, I've been following it for a while now, but really got involved and interested recently, obviously, when I stood up a stake pool.
Your background in programming, I'm sure that helped you quite a bit with your Cardano stake pool.
Yeah, absolutely it did. And that's what really got me interested. I owned Cardano since 2017, but really started to get interested in some of the back end and how it functions. So that's what kind of led me down that road of, well, let's tear this open and see what it's all about to start a stake pool. And here we are.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's definitely something we're going to dig into later. And so, yeah, well, as far as me with what got me so passionate about crypto was mainly my financial goals that I had, and the big hook that sucked me into crypto was when Bitcoin first started to blow up. I had already purchased, so at that point I had my GPU setup running out of my computer. I had bought 2 other GPUs, so I was running 3 total GPUs, and then I had bought 4 Litecoin machines.
Oh, wow.
And 2 Dashcoin machines. And so that whole aspect, like I mentioned earlier about passive income, I really just started running with it. And there was a point when Bitcoin blew up, and in the past, historically, what happened is Litecoin and all the other altcoins followed the pattern. So if Bitcoin went up, all the other altcoins went up and then down, and we see the same pattern today. But there wasn't, so Litecoin hadn't followed that same pattern. So wow. I put about $2,000 into Litecoin, and it 5x'd within 3 days. And so that was super exciting to see how quickly I could earn money and gain from these crypto trades and how volatile everything was. And there's definitely been some big mistakes that I've made along the way when it comes to investing. And so yeah, as far as someone who's just now getting into it, what is some advice that you'd give someone who is just investing into crypto now?
Yeah, I tell people this all the time, multiple times a week, that it's not too late. Just what I said, looking at Bitcoin when it was $1, I thought it was too late. Looking at it now at $30,000, it's not too late. Crypto is very early. We are all early adopters. If you think about your friends and family and everyone try to think about what they know about crypto and then go a step further. Do they own any? And the answer is likely no. And if you think, at a global scale, just the impact cryptocurrency is going to have and how many people eventually will own it, I mean, we are truly in the infancy here, and it's not too late. I would say, put some money aside, make some purchases, and just sit back and enjoy.
Absolutely. We are very early in the game. Currently, Bitcoin, actually all of cryptocurrency has about 1.4 trillion in it, which is a lot of money. But if you take a couple steps back and take a look at the traditional investment firms like stocks and bonds and mutual funds and things like that, just Apple themselves, Apple the company, has 2.4 trillion in it. And so the size or the market cap of where crypto is at right now pales in comparison to the overall markets when it comes to
Absolutely.
investing.
And there's barely utility yet. I mean, you really have to kind of try to find places to spend Bitcoin, to spend Cardano, and that's definitely going to change in the near future. So once there's actual utility, I think that market cap's going to blow up.
Absolutely, we're definitely in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so as far as crypto mistakes, what did you learn from your biggest crypto failure there?
Yeah, I'd say I learned, and this is true with any investing. You really have to have a clear goal in mind. Are you looking to invest long term, or are you looking to just trade and make some money? And my mistake there was I mixed the two up. Right, I was in Bitcoin for the long haul, and I got greedy and cocky, and I tried to make a quick trade to make some money, and it blew up in my face. So I think that's the important thing, is just know when you're going into it what your goals are, and then stick with those. Don't deviate. It's fine to have two separate pools of money and be playing with one and holding with the other, but just don't mix the two, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like you said a key thing there. And so when it comes to investing in general, I've always said it with my own personal investments. I've anyone who has asked me for advice when it comes to investing, it's that you invest with a purpose and you have a goal, and they were clear and concise goals. Hey, I want to put my money in at X and I'm going to sell at X. If you're going to be trading like that, you need to have clear and concise goals, so that and then accept those goals. So if you sell and then the next day Bitcoin goes up another $10,000, it's not worth it for you to beat yourself up. Just say, hey, look, I made some awesome gains and I'm going to get back in. Here's my next plan. Right.
That's right. So own the outcome.
Own the outcome. Exactly. And so investing with a purpose and have clear goals. You said it perfectly there. For me, when it came to what I learned with my biggest crypto failure, is that I learned that you need to be first to market when buying new mining machines. In order to make any type of reasonable return on investment. So it's just like the GPU situation that we're in. There's a massive shortage of chips due to COVID. And then to compound that issue, there are programmers out there who insta buy any GPU available on any online retailer. So, I'm really hoping that with China banning the mining over there, and with, chips becoming more available due to supply chain shortages. And I really hope that those two things combined bring back the decent price of GPUs in any mining machine that we could ever buy. Right.
Yeah.
But like I said, this one of the things that we're focusing on today is Cardano and mining. So I don't want to not mining. staking. So I don't
Staking,
want to
that's right.
totally,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, I don't want to totally run away from our point of the podcast here, which is why people need to be staking their Cardano. And so, yeah, so as far as advice is concerned when it comes to crypto, what is some advice that you'd give someone who is just getting into crypto?
Yeah, I tell people multiple times a week who are just learning about crypto or asking me about headlines that really it's not too late. And a lot of people think that they missed the boat. I mean, I even said I thought I missed the boat earlier in 2011 when Bitcoin hit $1, but you really didn't. I mean, this technology and the utilization is really at its infancy. And when you think about all the people you know, especially those listening to this podcast, your friends, your family, how many people actually know about crypto to the extent where they can talk about it, but then also that they own it? And the answer is really not many. And when you think about, this is a global currency. This isn't just isolated like a stock market to the US markets. When you think about all the people and all the potential, I mean, it just the sky's the limit. I mean, we haven't even reached close to being not early adopters. That's how early we are.
Absolutely. We are very early in the game. And, one of the things I was just looking up is the market cap of crypto versus traditional investments like the stock market. And so crypto as a whole only has about $1.4 trillion in it only, right?
Sure.
But if you think about this, just the company Apple has a market cap of 2.4 trillion. And
right.
So, if you compare the crypto world and its market cap versus the traditional investing, we are very early on, and there's a lot of money still to be made when it comes to crypto, especially if crypto eventually gets to the point where it is our daily currency. If it turns into something like that, then absolutely there is a very long runway for us when it comes to crypto in general.
Yeah.
And especially with Cardano, I feel like Cardano is in a place it's poised to make waves in the crypto world.
I agree.
Yeah. And so as far as crypto is concerned, what are the top 2 or 3 places that you would recommend to start buying crypto?
Yeah, in terms of exchanges, I mean, I assume that's what you're referring to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would defer to Coinbase. It's very easy to onboard there. Sure, their fees are a little higher, but it's you're not going to see crazy, scary graphs. If you're familiar with investing at all, you should feel very comfortable with Coinbase. They've been around forever. They are trusted. They even have a more advanced platform that is free. You could just go to pro.coinbase.com and you get to see those graphs that may be a little daunting and intimidating at first, but also you get lower fees. So just by using their more advanced platform, they're cutting their fees back. So I think Coinbase is a great entry level exchange. And then I've recently started using CoinX. And I've been very happy with their service and their interface. So those are a couple examples right there.
Right. Well, and I definitely feel like with Coinbase, it is a wonderful entry point. Coinbase follows all of the laws and regulations for the United States here. So, there are exchanges out there that you want to be very careful of when it comes to putting your bank account information onto it. They may or may not send you any tax information, things like that. But Coinbase, if you're just starting, it is the perfect place for you to begin. Just like Tyler said, fees are a little high on the base application. But once you familiarize with Coinbase, go ahead and you start using the pro aspect of it. Fees are a lot less, and it's really not that different. You just need to get used to it
very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, as far as Coinbase is concerned, I'm gonna leave a link below This is a way that you guys can support the channel. If you sign up with this link, you'll get $10 in crypto after you put your first $100 into the platform. This is at no cost to you. You make a little bit of money, and it's or at least crypto, and you can invest that into any crypto that you want that's on the platform, and it's a great way to get started. And so, as far as Cardano, tell me what got you into Cardano initially.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think back. When I first heard about Cardano, I was actually watching CNBC of all things, and I know that some people frown upon that network and just their views in general when it comes to finances. But they had mentioned Cardano, and what caught my attention there was a couple things. First, that it's really a research-driven crypto. So, they have a lot of white papers. Those white papers have been peer reviewed several times, and just from my background of being a software engineer, that really appealed to me. I liked the idea of taking the time to, build something once, measure twice, build something once, right? Measure twice, cut once. So I liked that. And I liked the fact that Charles was part of the original Ethereum team. So it sounded like, those two things together, the fact that he obviously learned some things from Ethereum and is taking those learnings and improving them with Cardano. Plus, its price point. Now, knowing what I know now about how market caps work, I think that was a little bit misleading that, this is 40 cents. I should, it's going to be thousands of dollars one day like Bitcoin is. Now's the time to buy. We know that's probably not the case and not going to happen. But still,
Yeah.
I was naive at the time. So I thought 40 cents, what a steal. So that's what got me into Cardano. And that's what inevitably made me buy a bunch of it then.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that is something that a lot of other people can understand as well, is the current price of whatever investment or crypto that you're invested into is not necessarily tied to the overall performance of the coin. And so one of the things you want to look at is, we talked about this earlier, is market cap.
Yep.
And market cap is how much money in total is put into that asset. And so, that I think, Cardano fluctuates in total market cap between third place and fifth place.
Yep.
They're up and down. And so, it definitely is poised to do really well. I think Ethereum is about six times more market cap in it than Cardano, which to me just tells me that, hey, Cardano has a better base. They're starting off in the beginning. Ethereum they were first to market. And so there's a lot of development on that platform, and it's doing wonderfully well. A lot of people talk about Cardano being the Ethereum killer, but I personally, I don't know. I honestly hope it doesn't kill Ethereum. I hope they take their own paths and they both do well. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of people, that's a big argument that happens on the internet. People get all worked up over the Ethereum killer, but I personally don't hope it does. I just hope they compete with each other to create a better environment for everybody, right? And so my experience, what got me into Cardano initially was I was managing those miners. And that was a lot of work. I had to go take a look at them every day. Sometimes I had to reset them multiple times a day. They made a ton of noise in my garage. They created a ton of heat. And so there was like a lot of maintenance that I had to do with it. And Cardano, I was reading the white paper when it, and one of the things that really attracted me was the staking aspect. And I wanted to be able to make money off of Cardano without running a machine. And so as far as Cardano and what initially attracted me to it was that. And so I started investing into it, at 4 cents, at 8 cents, when it hit 97 cents. I think that was the highest I had invested into it before it had peaked back in 2017.
So you got in on the way up. Whereas I think I got in on the way down, and that's what kind of, to me, I bought in at like 60 cents, 40 cents, 20 cents. And then, so on the way down to 2 cents is when I started buying.
Nice.
Heavily. Yeah. Except, at that point, I was starting to think, well, is this just going to go to zero, and am I throwing my money away?
Oh
So I kind
yeah.
of stopped. I kind of stopped making purchases, which I shouldn't have done. But oh
Yeah, I
well.
definitely had some of my doubts at that point as well. It's one of those things with crypto where it's like, oh man, if I had known, I feel like there's far too much of that feeling when it comes
Yeah.
to crypto. Oh, if I had only known,
Yeah.
because it just happens a lot. And so, well, as far as staking, let's get into the meat of this here. So, as far as staking with your Cardano, what is staking?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. So staking is the act of allocating your ADA that's in your wallet to a stake pool and basically saying, hey, I I want this pool to succeed and I want this pool to get mine more blocks. And then we're going to get into all this terminology, obviously, but it's basically the act of allocating your ADA to a pool. Now, what's important though is that you're not sending your ADA anywhere. Your ADA never leaves your wallet, which I think is a really elegant solution here that Charles and Cardano and team have put
Mm-hmm.
together because there's no risk involved at all. There's zero risk to actually staking your ADA, and that's something that I think a lot of folks don't realize, that you don't have to send any money anywhere to actually participate and earn rewards.
Absolutely. And so, when it comes to staking, the way that I look at it is really in two aspects.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pool, which is essentially a miner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you don't have to pay to run that miner. So you don't have to pay crazy amounts of electricity to have it run. And so, this is one of the things that I'm attracted to is that you have a miner that works for you, or a staking pool that works for you and earns you interest. It's very similar to investing into a company that pays dividends.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, as far as that is concerned, you definitely can put your money into something that will earn you interest. Now, when it comes to staking, I like to look at it. I mean, you could look at it like a bank account as well, or like a savings. A lot of people just put their money into a savings account
Mm-hmm.
that they're not going to touch for a while, when they could put that same money into maybe like a high yield interest
Yep.
account and make a lot more money. And so anyone who is just leaving their money in a Cardano wallet and not staking it is just losing money.
Yeah. That's the great thing about Cardano. You're literally earning money two ways. One, the price of Cardano is going up, hopefully, ideally. Sometimes it goes
Mhm.
down, but ideally over time, the price is going up. But at the same time, you're getting more Cardano, you're getting more ADA by staking. So you're
Yeah,
getting returns in two different ways, which is, I think, better than a savings account, better than a high yield savings account.
absolutely. It definitely pays a lot more as well as far as
Yeah.
interest. That's something we're going to get into. Well, let's do it right now that we're on the subject about what's the average return when it comes to interest earned
Yep. So the
per
average
year.
return is about 5.5%. So over the course of the year, you should expect to get about 5.5% back, whatever is in your wallet. Now, obviously, if you're adding to your wallet, then that's incrementing as well. So, but about 5.5% per year.
Yeah, you compare that to the 0% that people are making just
Right.
leaving
Yeah.
their Cardano in a wallet, not staking. And I especially liked what you said earlier about um, staking your Cardano, is that there's zero risk involved. It's
Yeah.
built into the platform. Like, it's built into the vision that Charles, who is the creator of Cardano, it's built into the vision that you make interest off of your Cardano. It's not made to just sit there in a wallet. It's
Yep.
made so that
Yeah.
you can earn interest on it. And so if you're not doing that, you're losing money. You're
Yep.
losing money. And
I
so,
spend a lot of time on Reddit marketing my pool and talking to folks. And I would say that, one of the top two questions that I always see people say is, should I stake X amount of ADA? And X can be anything. I mean, we have people in our pool who have 5 ADA. It doesn't matter. The answer is always yes, because there's no risk and you're throwing away free money by not staking it. You will get some amount of ADA back if you stake your ADA.
yeah. Well, and as far as your pool is concerned, tell us how we can find more information about how to stake into your pool.
Absolutely. So the pool's name is Tygar,
Mhm.
Tygar, and you can find out, there's a lot of resources right now, and we're going to get into some of them, but you can go to tigar-pool.com,
Mm-hmm.
or you can, go to some of the online sites such as pooltool.io or adapools.org, and you can type in our pool's name, TYGAR, and find a lot of information, find a lot of the data, statistics, performance numbers about the pool. But I guess if you're looking for more information, hit up our website, tigar-pool.com, or and this is another thing that we're going to talk about a lot more, is I love talking to anyone who stakes with us. So I have a Telegram group that I'd welcome you to join. And basically, we'll put some resources, I think, in the comments here. But I'm very active in that group and constantly talking about pool performance, how we're doing in terms of pool growth, how we're doing in terms of how many blocks we're anticipating getting in every future epoch. So you are basically constantly in the know. And that's something that I think really differentiates smaller pools from larger pools. But I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. So
No, that's fine. That's great stuff. No, that's super great information. I mean, when it comes to, pools, not all of them are made equal. Some of them, on average though. So as far as an average, does every pool make about the same year over year, or talk to me about that?
No, I appreciate you asking that, because that is an important concept. Is every pool, based on the protocol, the way that it's built, should receive about 5.5% per year. Now, the difference between a large pool and a small pool is that a large pool, you should expect to see that every 5 days. Every 5 days, you're going to consistently probably get a return of 5.5%. Now, on a smaller pool, you're going to get a lot of volatility. Some epochs, which are 5 days, and we'll get to that, you'll probably see, maybe 2%, 3%. But then on the other side, there'll be the next epochs, you'll get 8%, 9%. And basically the moral is, no matter what pool you pick, as long as they're functional and operational and mining blocks, you should expect to see 5.5%. It's just tricky to sell folks these days on smaller pools, because people want that instant gratification, right? They want to see that ADA every 5 days, deposit in their account, and they get a little bummed when it's low. But with a small pool, you can look at the graphs and the charts and everything. It definitely evens out. We've had some amazing epochs lately where we were doing 10% returns to really counteract those couple epochs where we were only getting 3%, et cetera.
Right. And so, I mean, and that kind of, I feel like people could potentially make a little bit more from a smaller pool. But that's something that, is probably a little more advanced. The purpose of this is just to get people comfortable with staking and understanding, what to expect out of it. One of the problems that I had, and this is something that you helped me solve before we did this podcast, is, and as we met, I had a couple of questions. The pool that I was in was one of the top 10, it fluctuated between 1 and 10. And so that pool had been oversaturated, at the end of the epoch 2 times. And when I left, or when I redelegated to your pool, I had, that week it was oversaturated as well. And so what happens when a pool has too much ADA in it?
Yeah, so let's talk about saturation. So saturation is a mechanism within the staking protocol that basically encourages people to spread around, right? Because if there was no saturation limit and there was one pool that was performing well, of course, everyone in the world would delegate to that pool, and all the other pools would get starved. So they introduced this idea of saturation, which is basically that once a pool reaches 64 million ADA in stake, if it exceeds that, then the total rewards for that pool starts to diminish. They start to deteriorate. So basically, everyone in that pool gets penalized once a pool gets over 64 million ADA. And I think that's really clever, because, it forces you to kind of be aware of hopefully and observant of how your pool's doing, where they are in terms of that saturation threshold, and then encourages you to find smaller pools to delegate to that aren't close to that saturation limit, so that basically the goal is to decentralize Cardano and to have people spread out and support and delegate to multiple pools.
Right. And so, yeah, that mechanism is in place to stop the big investors from capitalizing on the best returns. And so,
That's exactly right.
yeah, I feel like it's a wonderful thing. It works. And so what it does is it makes it work for the small guys and it makes it work for the big guys. And so that's the whole point of that idea of oversaturation of a pool. And so that definitely protects the smaller investors from not getting the same type of returns or expectations when it comes to using the Cardano staking platform. And so, yeah, so as far as an epoch, what is an epoch?
Yeah. So an epoch is how time is basically measured within Cardano. So it's exactly 5 days long. And from a staking perspective for your viewers, the real reason you care about an epoch is that's when rewards are dished out every 5 days, every epoch. So when an epoch starts, all of the ADA that is staked with that pool gets captured, and I don't say that in a manner that it's not locked up or anything, but basically the amount of ADA in that pool gets recorded, and it is delegated for that entire epoch. So even if you were to leave and pull out some ADA, nothing can change for the epoch that you're in. That any changes that you make will affect that pool in a future epoch. But so the whole 5 days go by, and then when the epoch ends, that's when the calculations happen and rewards are then dealt out. It's a little bit more confusing because there's a 2 epoch offset, which I don't think we'll get into here, but basically, you're always looking 2 epochs ahead. So the money the ADA that's coming to our pool right now will actually be active 2 epochs from now. But essentially at the end of every epoch is when rewards are calculated and automatically sent to holders' wallets.
Okay, so is that 5 day period, is that business days or is it just every 5 days?
It's every 5 days. Every 5 days rolling at 5:45 p.m. Eastern time is when a new epoch starts. So and this is something that I'm watching very closely as a stake pool owner, so I can tell you exactly when it's going to be. And so tomorrow at 5:45 is when the new epoch starts. So and there's other reasons why I care. I try to get as much stake as possible in my pool before the epoch cutoff, so that then our pool hopefully grows epoch over epoch. So, but yeah, right now we're in epoch 276, and they just increment up every 5 days. So tomorrow night will be 277, and we'll start again.
Okay, and so what you're saying here, and just to kind of connect some of the dots that we've made here. So as far as saturation or how much money is in your pool, so the more money that's in your pool every epoch, does that mean that there's the return or the interest earned off of it is more stable, or it has more? Or talk to me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, Tigar, our pool, has about 3.5 million staked with it, and again, the saturation limit is 64 million. Now, I guess we should first talk about what a block is and what it means to mint a block, and then we can talk about how the amount of stake in your pool dictates how many blocks you should get. So another term that you should be familiar with is what a block is, and basically, a block is a group of transactions that have happened on the Cardano network since the past block. So essentially, the way that it works is that randomly at the start of an epoch, the Cardano staking protocol picks a number of blocks out of every single second in the day for 5 days. So there are 432,000 seconds in 5 days. That's the potential of 432,000 blocks, but there aren't that many. On average, there's probably a block every 20 seconds. So what it does is the protocol picks that many stake pools to mint those blocks throughout the period of that epoch. And if you are one of those stake pools that mint a block, what it means is that your pool is actively verifying and validating all of the transactions that have happened since the last block. And
Okay.
so you get rewarded based on the number of blocks you mint. For each block that your pool mints, you get about 900 ADA to then share with all of the stakers, all of the delegates in your pool.
Okay. So
Uh,
so
yeah.
sometimes your pool can uh, your pool can mint more blocks. Is that why you get a higher percent return sometimes?
Yep, exactly right. So,
Okay.
based on the amount staked with you, there's a probability factor that.
Hmm.
So I can just tell you right now, with 2.6 million staked with me right now, we are likely to get 2.5 blocks, but blocks can't be split in half. So we're either going to get 2 blocks or 3 blocks.
Hmm.
That's what we're expected. However, there is a factor of luck involved as well. So we could get 0 blocks, or we could get as many as 10 blocks. And basically, like I said, each block is worth 900 ADA. So if we were expected to get 3 blocks, that would be about 2,700 ADA to split
Hmm.
across all of our delegates. But if we get 10 blocks, then that's 9,000 ADA that we get to split across all of our delegates. And that's why the amount of rewards fluctuates over time, because your pool might do better than anticipated, it might do better than expected. So
Okay.
you'll get more rewards, or it may do worse. And so it may get, just the luck factor may give us 0 blocks, 1 epoch. And then unfortunately, no one would get rewards at all for that 1 epoch.
Right. And so as far as like the bigger pools, because they're closer to 100% saturation, they're just it's more of like a stable because they can't they've hit like the ceiling, I guess, right? As
That's
far
exactly right. So
as
a
luck
large,
is concerned, there's no
yeah,
luck involved at that point.
exactly. So a large pool at saturation, I'm making this up, but they may be expected to get 100 blocks, but that's likely not as likely to fluctuate from epoch to epoch. So yeah, they
Mhm.
may get 98 blocks, or they may get 102 blocks, but at the end of the day, those couple of blocks spread
Separated
across.
between everybody too. So
Exactly, is pennies. It's not,
yeah.
it's just a handful of ADA. Whereas that same luck difference at a smaller pool makes a huge difference. I mean, if we were to get, 900 more ADA to spread across just a handful of people, that's a lot
Mhm.
more rewards than you would probably get with a large pool.
So yeah, so the point I kind of want to just drive across here is really just the fact that when it comes to staking into smaller pools, you're going to get the same amount, the same return by the end of the year, regardless, because it fluctuates. Um, but maybe even potentially a little bit more, right?
That's
Because
right.
what if that pool is a little bit more lucky? And so things like that. And so I feel like when it comes to saturation and how much is inside of a pool, I made a mistake. And for 2 epochs, I lost money because the
Yep.
pool was oversaturated. And that is a risk involved in delegating to one of the top pools. And so for me personally, I would rather have the opportunity to not be in an oversaturated pool, because that is something that you have 100% control over.
Yeah.
And so picking a pool that is like right at 100% saturation likely won't be the right pool for you, because it is risky, right? And so
Yeah, I mean, it really, you said a couple things there that I want to emphasize. The first is, I just want to clarify. You say you lost money, but you didn't earn to your potential. So again, there's no one's losing ADA here when they stake, or if a pool's saturated, your wallet will never decrease as a result of staking. You
okay,
just
yeah, that's a good
won't.
point.
Just want to clarify that. But what's important that you said is, that there are some benefits certainly to a smaller pool, and
Mhm.
those are, you don't have to watch it nonstop, because the chances of our pool becoming saturated in the next 9 months is very unlikely. We're again only at 3.5 million ADA, so we would need another 60 million delegated to us, which just isn't going to happen, unfortunately, for a long time, if ever. So you don't have to worry about the saturation limit with a small pool. And then the other benefit that I really want to highlight is the chance to have an actual relationship with your stake pool owner. And that may seem like a small thing at first, but I run a Telegram group, like I mentioned,
Mhm.
and to be able to keep our delegates informed about our pool's performance, One thing that a lot of people don't know is actually stake pool owners know how many blocks they're going to get the epic before the next epic. So, right now I can tell you how many blocks we're going to get in Epic 277. And I do that on our Telegram group. So I broadcast that information. And that's one way that you can really earn some trust with that stake pool owner, because with a large pool, there's no transparency there at all, right? They may be missing blocks, their nodes may be offline, and they would never tell you that. And you would never know. If they were supposed to mint 120 blocks and they only minted 100 blocks, you would never know that. And so that's one thing that I definitely encourage folks is to with these small pools, you get to get that relationship with them, and communication is wide open and it's transparent.
So as far as like getting a hold of the pool operator, what is the best practice, or what do you want your delegates to do when they delegate to your pool?
Yeah, and this is what I say on Reddit all the time. I try to post on Reddit just for visibility of new stakers. A handful of times a day. I spend a lot of time marketing. So I try to encourage people to look at small pools, ideally join mine, although there are some rules. You can't advertise stake pools on the Cardano subreddit, so it gets a little tricky. But the second thing I want them to do is to join us on social media. So find our Facebook group, join our Telegram group, and become active. And it's just like any other finance. Going back full circle to the point of investing is to be aware of what your money's doing. And I think having that conversation and communication with your stake pool owner and knowing, okay, guys, this is unfortunately a bad epic. Here's where we're at in the scheme of things, though, and here's where we're projected for the year. I think it really gets you that closeness to what your money's doing.
Yeah. No, I definitely, that there's a lot of value in understanding what's going on with your investments. That way, like we had talked about earlier, investing is a big mental game. You need to understand what is going on with your assets and why, because if all of a sudden things aren't going the way you want it to, you're going to sell, you're going to get out, you're going to do something, but it's not, that likely isn't going to be the best option for you. And so being in the know, knowing what's going on, allows you to have the mental fortitude to handle situations when it comes to investing in general. And so that same principle applies to this. And so, as far as, being in a pool that's almost saturated, how do you avoid being in a pool that's oversaturated? Like, how do you know? Because if you're there at the top, it's like, what can you do to avoid that?
Yeah, so there are two good resources that we should highlight in the comments. But the first is adapools.org, so adapools.org. And the second one is pooltool.io. The data that each of them displays is a little bit different, so I would encourage you to become familiar with both. But basically, that is the best resource. Those are the best resources for seeing any metrics about your pool, especially how close they are to saturation. That is one of the prominent data points, is how close that pool is to saturation. And as we said, you just have to watch it closely. I mean, every epic, you have to watch it closely if you're in a large pool. And as it creeps up to 64 million, you have to switch out of it. And the thing that I was telling you last week is, unfortunately, and actually earlier, even in today's conversation, you have to kind of make that decision 2 epics in advance, because it takes 2 full epics for you to leave a pool and join a new one. So, while the switch on screen is instant, like I said, your ADA is still with that previous pool for 1 full epic past the point that you switch. So if your pool were to become oversaturated today and you decide to make that change, you're stuck at that diminished reward for another 5 days, another epic, before you're actually into the new pool.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's something really interesting to know about this. So if you think about it, if a pool at 100% saturation is earning 5.5%, that means every epic, that pool has to bleed 5.5% at least, just to stay under the saturation limit. And so that kind of takes me to one of the, something that we've, I
Actually,
guess.
real quick, let me just explain that a little bit better because that's a huge point, and that's something that's crazy to think about. Is everyone in the pool is earning 5.5%? Well, 5.5% divided by 73, the number of epics
Right.
in a year. But over a course of a year, they're all earning 5.5%. Every 5 days, ADA is being injected into that pool, even without new delegates.
Right.
So your point is spot on, which is your pool, all pools are growing unless there's attrition. Unless people are leaving the pool, all pools are growing towards that saturation point. So you do have to be kind of aware of not just the comings and goings of new delegates, but also just the natural growth from the rewards that they're earning.
So there are a lot of people out there who don't like to actively trade, right? And I'm sure that that same situation is going to apply true to people who don't want to actively switch out of pools. And so from what I understand, people who just like to set it and forget it, you're going to do much better in a pool that is not anywhere near 100% saturation. And so that, if you're that type of person, it will massively benefit you just to put your, stake your Cardano in a pool that isn't anywhere near 100% saturation. And
Yes,
so
100%. I would say that, there's some caution on the other side as well. I would not necessarily stake with a pool that was brand new or that was so small that they're not producing blocks every epic. The challenge there is, and we're going to get into fees in a second, but all stake pools collect the first 340 ADA that are created from blocks. So if you think about, if you're in a very, very small pool that only mints one block every epic, then that pool is getting the first 340. The stake pool owner is getting the first 340. So that's only leaving about 500 ADA to go around to the rest of the delegates. So your rewards are definitely lower for super small pools. Plus, you have the fact that that pool may not be functioning correctly, right? If it's so small and it's never minted a block, how do you have the confidence that it actually is set up correctly to mint a block? So yeah, I would definitely caution people from joining a pool below 1 million. And then to your earlier point, I would stay way away from pools that are large, especially if you like to set it and forget it, that are approaching saturation.
Right. Well, and that, there's something, I guess kind of moving on to, a different subject as far as staking. What is live stake versus active stake?
Yeah. So, and that dovetails right into what we were talking about. So live stake is the total amount of ADA in that pool at a given time. Active is what's actually was in there one full epic ago. So that's the amount that's earning rewards, is the active amount. And actually, I think you are going to share some screens during this, but if you pull up my pool, you'll see that right now we're at I believe 3.3 million ADA, and that's live, but that's not active. The amount of stake that's actually earning rewards right now is what we had 2 epics ago, which is 2.5 or 2.6 million ADA. So that's the real difference, is what's actually earning rewards versus what's in there right now that's going to earn rewards.
Yeah. So if I put some Cardano in your pool right now, it's not active until 2 epics later. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. It's epic still in the previous pool you were in until it gets absorbed into the new pool 2 epics later.
So it's just important to know and to be able to keep an eye on. And those 2 websites that you mentioned earlier show you what the live stake is so that you can review that information. And it's just like a small bit of information that's good to know.
Yeah.
So especially if the pool is somewhere, on, so is it about every 1 million that your pool has the potential to mint another block, or has like more of a potential to mint a certain amount of blocks? Or talk to me about that.
Yeah. So it's actually about, it's about 1.25 million that you need to be expected to mint 1 block. So at 2.5 million, we were expected to mint 2. So, right now, like we talked about, our active stake is about 2.6 million, which is how I'm getting to that we're expected to mint 2.5. But now that our stake has jumped, which I'm ecstatic about, we've had a flood of new delegations just this past 5 days. We're up closer to 3.3 million. I would expect our expectation to be just under 3 blocks for
Right.
that amount of stake.
Yeah, so it's good to know, the difference between active and live, because hey, it's in a couple weeks we'll be there, and it's okay for me to just to leave it there. And so yeah, great. Well, as far as fees, can you explain a little bit about a stake pool fees and how they work?
I can, and I'd love to, because this is I would say the number one point of confusion when it comes to staking, and something that I try to answer all the time on Reddit. Basically, people think that a fee, and rightfully so. I mean, the word fee means that you're paying something to, to either participate in or earn rewards, and that's actually incorrect. The way fees work with staking are passive. So what that means is the stake pool, when they earn rewards, they take from the entire pool of rewards the amount of fees outlined, that they defined, and we'll talk about what that means in a second. And then before they deal out rewards, and then they deal out the remainder of the rewards to everybody else. So, for a real world example, I see someone with 400 ADA asking on Reddit, is it really worth staking? Because it looks like the fee is 340 ADA. So does that mean they're going to take 340 ADA out of my 400? But no, the 340 ADA come out of the pool of rewards once the pool starts making and minting blocks. So there are two fees that a pool can set and they can define. The first is a fixed amount, and the minimum of that is 340. And typically pools leave it at 340. And basically that just means that no matter how many, as long as you mint at least one block, you get the pool owner gets a fixed amount of 340 ADA. They're going to take that right off the top. It's like on a poker table. I forget the term, but
the house.
Yes. So then there's a margin fee. There's a percent fee that a pool can set, and typically you see pools fall somewhere in the 1% to 3% range, and that's of the rest of the rewards. So after the 340 is scraped, the rest of the rewards, the pool is going to get an additional X percent, whatever that percentage is set at. So my pool, Tigar, we have a fixed fee of 340 ADA, as most pools do. That's the minimum. You can't go lower than that.
Okay.
And then we have 0.8% on the margin, which is lower than a lot of pools. It's lower than a lot of large pools, and it's lower than a lot of small pools. And that's just something that, we wanted to at least try to have a low amount of fees to encourage more delegates and more stake.
Great. And so, yeah, I mean, that's super important to know that every pool has a minimum fee regardless. It's just how the system is set up. There is a lot of work that pool owners put into this. You got to run some machines in your house and make sure that, that they have uptime, things like that. If they go down, you got to work on it. There's work involved in it on your end. And so as far as a pool operator, and so it's understandable that the creators of Cardano want to reward people who run these pools in a way that is enough for them to want to do it, right? And so nobody wants to just put a machine in their house that's going to create heat and use electricity and for free. Every business has its model, and this is the model that Cardano and the makers of Cardano have built into the system. And so there is a minimum fee, and that is something to incentivize people to make Cardano more decentralized. And so that's what you're doing when you run a pool, is you're decentralizing the network more and more. Every single pool operator is making the dream work. What is a pledge when it comes to pool operators?
Yep. So a pledge is an amount of ADA that the pool owner has defined that is going to basically be stuck with that pool. They're basically committing to not trading that ADA ever or selling that ADA ever. it's in terms of locked ADA goes, this is the only time that ADA is actually locked up is a stake pool owner's pledge. So you as a staker aren't locking up your ADA when you delegate to us, but the pool owner is. And then what it really is it's a commitment to the delegates that, I'm serious about this. I'm going to take, X $1,000, convert it to ADA, and just have it sitting there with the pool so that you can then trust and nominate us and delegate with us, because that I've gone that step and I'm serious about making this pledge here, and so you can trust that fact. So for our pool, I have 55,000 ADA as a pledge, and there is actually a correlation in the rewards algorithm between amount of pledge and the number of blocks that you will get. So as we discussed, the main factor in the number of blocks the pool gets is the amount staked with them. Right. But there is a very small factor that has to also that factors in the pledge amount. So right. That's why, another tool to assess when you're thinking about joining a pool is how much pledge do they have. A lot of these new pools, especially, it's unfortunate, but it's also great that ADA is at $1.40 right now, because getting a high pledge is a little bit more difficult than it used to be when ADA was at 20 cents. So a lot of these new pools right now only have $1,000 pledged or 1,000 ADA pledged. But that is how pledge works. Basically, it's the stake pool's commitment to the pool itself.
That's well put. There, you got skin in the game, and so as far as you as an operator, what is something you do for your pool delegates that may set you apart from other pool operators? And you've already touched on a couple of them, but I think there's other things that you haven't quite talked about yet.
Yeah, so I think the two real differentiators, if you will, is one, the communication that I like to have with my delegates, letting them know ahead of time how many blocks we're expected to get, so that, and I'm open about it. If we're expected to get 5 blocks next Epoch, which is great, then I let you know that. And if we only get 4 because there was a hardware issue, then you can, then the transparency is there, right? Right. Okay, this pool wasn't available for whatever reason, and we got to come to terms with that. So, and that's something that you're not going to get with large pools. So we were actually the first pool to open this up, and we won't get into the details too much, but basically Cardano started supporting native tokens back in March. So when that happened, I decided to create Tiger loyalty tokens, which is a native token on Cardano, and send one to each of our delegates at that time. And now you can still get one if you delegate over 5,000 ADA to us. And what it is it's a reward program. So essentially, I'm paying you additional. I'm rewarding you again for staying with our pool through the ups and downs and the good times and the bad. Every epoch that goes by that you hold that token, you get 0.1 ADA. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but over time, and again, with the growth of ADA, hopefully it becomes a lot. And essentially, I like to say that we're the only pool that rewards its delegates twice every 5 days, because you're getting the pool rewards, but your ADA, your loyalty token is also incrementing in value. And just to round that out, the way that it works is anytime that you want in the future, you just send that token back to me, and I will pay you its current value based on how many epochs you were staked with our pool.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's definitely a wonderful way for you to set yourself apart. That's awesome. I haven't heard of any other pools doing that. In fact, the other pools that I've been in didn't get any communication with them. I looked them up, and I, try to connect with them. There was no way to connect with the two that I was in prior. And so that is definitely something that was super attractive to me when you mentioned those things. And so, yeah, thank you for going the extra mile there for your delegates. That's definitely something that's going to work out for you. And it's going to work out for me too.
That's right. Exactly right. Win-win.
Yeah. So as far as staking your ADA, when it comes to earning money, can you stake your ADA on an exchange?
Yeah, good question. Really good question. So exchanges are a little funny. What you got to know about exchanges is that they are in it for themselves. They're in it to make some money. Obviously, that's their business.
Mhm.
And the other thing that I always tell people is, they're called exchanges for a reason. They're not a permanent wallet that you should just leave your currency on. So the direct answer to your question is a little tricky because it differs from exchange to exchange. Some exchanges do let you stake, but there's some caveats there. They
Mhm.
are potentially scraping a percentage of your rewards for themselves before they're giving it to you. They're not transparent about what pools they let you choose from. So,
Mhm.
if you're in it just for the return, and I hope that you're not, I hope that you're in it because you see the long-term potential of Cardano and you want to support the network. But if you're in it for just the return, then yes, you probably could find an exchange that where you can stake and you can earn a little bit of interest every 5 days. But that said, and I hope the one takeaway here is that you get serious about your money and your investments, and you look into having a wallet that's local and installed on your computer or phone. The two that are supported for Cardano are Daedalus and Yori, and those allow you to stake with any pool that exists.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that would be the big encouraging factor is to pull some of the ADA from Binance and Coinbase and bring it into a local wallet.
Yeah.
Right now, I think there are 62 Binance stake pools, and they're all maxed out at 64
Mhm.
million. So just think about how much money Binance is making, and they're not giving that to their ADA holders. Binance.us does not allow you to stake your ADA, but they're doing it for you and they're taking all
Right.
of those rewards. So, if you got to just think about that a little bit, hopefully that resonates with you and you take the initiative, download a Cardano wallet. It's a little scary at first. I'm not going to lie, because you are given a passphrase of 24 words that literally, are your keys to your account. So if you lose those, you're kind of SOL. So you definitely need a backup plan, and you need some redundancy with what you do with those words and some privacy and security. But at the end of the day, I think that's important. I mean, like you said at the beginning of this, Drew, this is potential to change the financial landscape. So if you're
Mhm.
going to take control of your money and you believe in that future, then I think you need to take that first step and have a local wallet, move your ADA there, stake it with a pool. And yeah, I guess that would be my main message here, hopefully.
Absolutely. And so any seasoned crypto investor will tell you with 100% certainty that you need to have your own wallets.
Yeah.
Leaving your crypto on an exchange is nowhere near as safe. It is nowhere near as effective as having your own wallet.
Mhm.
And so it may be something that may push you a little bit, but I can definitely do a video about how to set up a Cardano wallet. It's very simple. You just have to save the keys that you're given, write them down, put them in your safe, put
Yep.
them somewhere safe that no one can get into. Even if someone were to find it, I guarantee 99.9% of the people
That's
out there
right.
wouldn't be able to like take your notes and like go on the internet and get in access to your stuff. And so I mean it's just people aren't in the know when it comes to stealing your information when it comes to crypto.
Yeah.
I mean, even people there are exchanges who have been hacked, they've been taken over. There's a lot of stuff that's happened to exchanges that makes them nowhere near as safe as a wallet on your computer. And so or in some other way. And so, yeah, definitely it is not difficult for you to install. I'm going to leave a link below for you to use Yori or Daedalus. I use Daedalus myself, um, and I've used Yori as well. But definitely it's very accessible, and I feel like it's very intuitive using the wallet. And when it comes to delegating you to a pool, it's very intuitive. You just type in, you can scroll through a list of everything. It's all there. And so I agree with you 100%. Setting up your own wallet is going to help you maximize and take control of your investment there. And
Yep.
so, yeah, you're not going to lose any money by, or at least the opportunity cost of losing money by staking with an exchange. You're definitely going to maximize your returns in that way. And so, Tyler, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your expertise that you've brought to the table here. And like I said, I'm going to leave a link below with any way for anybody to get a hold of you when it comes to staking or questions in general. If you're okay with that, I'll give
absolutely.
people your Reddit name.
Yeah.
Anything for them to get a hold of you. I think it's a great way for people to get into it and have a face to the name on the internet. That definitely goes a long way. People feel a lot more comfortable. I feel a lot more comfortable now that we've had some pretty in-depth conversations with, having my ADA staked in your pool. And so, yeah, thank you so much for everything that you've done and your experience up to this point that you're able to share with people. And I look forward to working more with you in the future.
Yeah, same here. Thank you. It's been great. I've enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully, your viewers have learned a couple things. But as you said, I am incredibly open and available. So if you do have any questions, find me, contact me. I will help you out. And yeah, please consider Tiger when you are staking your ADA.
And please consider hitting that subscribe and like button. Any questions you have, leave in the comment section below. And thanks a ton, everybody, for watching. And we are out.